All right, I am going to try this making a video while I'm driving thing, and I'm going to hope that I can post it somewhere and share it with people. So a little background, recently I have avoided social media for several months. I've been logged back into the main ones I've used before, Facebook and Twitter, primarily to post blog posts and things like that, sermons, things like that. And I'm a happier guy when I don't use all those mediums, or media, I guess I should say. But when I, one of the things that I have found in my life is that I have been a person who God has used to motivate other people to do evangelism, to pray for evangelists, to realize their own need to do evangelism. And I was reminded of this the other day when I went to an evangelism event that my friend was holding here in Ohio, and he kind of told me, he said, you were the inspiration for this. And I remember when this guy first contacted me and asked me about evangelism. And so for all of the people that don't pay attention to what I say online, or people who would think I overdo it, I think I'm going to try to start posting more. Like, I may use my Twitter account solely as a place to post evangelistic notes and let people know what's going on, so that people can hear about what I'm doing. You're so loud. My kids are in the back. My kids are in the back trying to be quiet. It's amazing how noises can distract me so easily. And so what I wanted was to have a video time just now where I just talk about what happened tonight. My method of evangelizing regularly, I've learned, is rare. And there are people in the church who don't believe they're supposed to evangelize regularly, but there's people who I think know they ought to, and they don't know how, or they're scared, or they don't feel qualified, or they've had bad experiences. And so I just want to share what happened tonight so that people can be encouraged, so people can pray. And I guess in some ways I really just want to provoke you to love and good works if you're a Christian, through videos like this and posts that I'll do online. So I'm going to try not to argue about things on Twitter and just post about evangelism. So I took my boys to a park tonight here in my hometown, and when I got out of the car, I put a bunch of tracts in my pocket. And here, in fact, I need to give you your tracts back because they go in the back, right? Or actually, I'm going to need them Saturday. I'll just hold on to them, okay? Maybe. So maybe you can. We'll talk to Mommy about it. So I had my tracts with me because, everywhere I go, I'm representing Jesus Christ. And when I'm with my kids, I don't like to have long conversations. I've done that, and my kids are usually patient, but I don't like to test them too much. So I was standing there, and there's really one lady that was near me, and she walked away, and I didn't chase her down with a tract or anything. And then this man walked up, and he definitely looked Mexican. And I know that that's probably racist to a lot of people, but the fact of the matter is there's sometimes a way that people look that helps you understand maybe their heritage. And so I said to him, I was trying to figure out how to find out if he was Mexican without just saying it, which I've done that in the past. I've just asked people, habla español. But I asked him, I said, what's your name? And he told me his name. He said, Valentin. And he had an accent that was clearly Mexican as well. And I said, do you speak Spanish? He said, yes. And so I said, I have something for you. And I asked my boy to run to the car, and he had trouble finding it, but we eventually got a gospel tract in Spanish that I carry with me that tells people the gospel in Spanish. And here it is. There's the front, says things above us, and then the back, and I'm driving, I shouldn't do this. Anyway, so I gave him tract in English and Spanish and just made small talk, and I practiced my un poco of Espanol. And then he left, and I actually yelled adios to him. So I thought that was friendly, and my son yelled adios too. So then my other son wanted to move to a different playground. So we went to the different playground, and at that playground there was a bunch of people, and I could tell some of them knew each other, and I was starting to feel like intimidated, and it's just because it's awkward to just go up to people and hand them gospel tracts, and at the same time it's almost impossible to have a long conversation with every person before you would give them a gospel tract, right? And I don't believe in friendship evangelism anyway. But so I went up to this guy and I said, here, I want you to have this. And I gave it to him. And then his wife was standing there and she kind of smiled, and I handed her one. And there was another couple, and I said, here, let me give you these cards also. And I could tell that the one guy wasn't wanting it. You could tell none of them were very happy about it. It was really clearly obvious so fast. And then my boys were calling me, and I just said, well, there you go, and I walked away. I didn't say much more. It was actually really awkward. And then I heard this guy saying something about talking to God or something. I couldn't understand him. And so I turned around and I looked at the guy. I could tell he was mocking, and I said, did you want to talk about it? And he said, no. And he made some comment under his breath, and I said, what'd you say? I didn't hear you. And then he just wouldn't repeat what he was saying. So he was acting like a coward, and instead of maybe just looking at me and saying, hey, I disagree, but you know, why do you believe this, or even just telling me his opinion, he actually admitted when I said I didn't hear you again, and he said I'm just making smart aleck comments, and what happened was I said well, you're going to stand before God one day and be held accountable. I said, you might want to think about that. And he said real sarcastically, oh no. And I just kind of did like one of these, you know, like, and I just turned around. I didn't feel like doing the public rebuke of him for his blasphemy, you know, at the park with his kids. I just, you know, I gave him a warning, and now I was like depressed because the previous guy said thank you, and then this guy was so rude, and that's hard for me. It's hard for everybody. So then I went up to another guy who was all alone now. There was 3 little boys and this guy, and this guy had been there a while. I thought he might know the other people, and he didn't. And I just went up to the guy and I said, here, I want you to have this gospel card. And he said, oh, thanks. And like, so of course my demeanor completely changes now, which that's an indictment. Like, why should I be so easily swayed by the people around me in this world rather than just the joy of telling people about Christ, right? But I'm human, I'm weak, and so we thank God for even sending encouragement in the order he sent things to me. You know, the first guy gave me a little confidence, the second guy depressed me, and then the last guy excited me. And then that guy started talking to me, and I asked him where he went to church, and he said he goes to church online now. And I said, And I just kind of said, like, that's, you know, why is that? And he said, well, we just haven't really looked for a place out here. And so I told him about my church, and he was real friendly and receptive to it. He said, in fact, his wife's at a Bible study right now. So he kind of talked like someone who's at least churchy. I didn't give him the 3rd degree. I didn't ask him a bunch of questions to verify if he was a Christian. I figured I gave him a gospel tract, and if we kept talking, I could. And so we talked for a couple more minutes about the kids, and then I just brought up to him, he said thank you for telling him about church. And I just said, you know, I said it's real important that you gather with other believers and worship the Lord weekly. I said it's especially important for kids to learn that. And I said, but it's important for you to just worship God with people like he's designed us to do. And he thanked me for saying it. And, you know, maybe he said he hasn't looked for a church. Maybe for him, somebody reaching out to him directly will be the thing he needed to motivate him. But so the Lord was really gracious to me, letting me pass out 6 gospel tracts tonight, including, I guess, a 7th gospel tract was a Spanish one. And I got to kind of testify to a guy, hey, you're going to stand before God. And that's the kind of stuff that, even though I was a smart aleck to the guy who said it to me when I was a non-believer, that's the stuff that like stuck in my head. That's the stuff that kept me awake at night. That's the stuff that I remembered. And so I got to do that. And I got to talk to a guy who, I'm hopeful might check out our church and might contact me. And I'd like to do more things where I get people's contact info as well. But so you could pray for Tyler and Valentine. The other people, I didn't get their names. Tyler had 3 little boys. One's name was Calvin, and he's a married guy. So, you never know what'll happen in a family's life just from somebody reaching out at the park with the gospel. What's that, sweetheart? We'll probably take him home. And so I just want you to consider those things. I want you to pray for these people. Even just take 10 seconds right now, 30 seconds right now, and just let the Lord know you want him to save these people as well. And then be encouraged yourself to go and do these things, to go therefore and make disciples. And the way we make disciples is by trying to disseminate the gospel to people and trusting that the Lord is the one who prepares the hearts and will regenerate souls by the power of the gospel, which is the power of God unto salvation.